The morning sun rose over the shining towers of Zelaris Academy, casting long silver streaks across the sprawling campus. Alien students of many shapes, sizes, and colors hurried along the walkways, chattering in dozens of different languages. The Academy was known across the galaxy as the premier institution for training future explorers, scientists, and warriors. It was a place where species from dozens of worlds came together to learn, to compete, and to prove themselves. In one of the Academy's largest classrooms, students were settling into their seats. The room was filled with an assortment of species, tall, slender beings with translucent skin that shimmered in the sunlight, small insect-like creatures with multiple eyes scanning every corner, and muscular, rock-like aliens whose footsteps shook the floor. Their instructor, a serious-looking alien with a long crest on his head, tapped the table to get everyone's attention. "Today," he began, "we have a new student joining our class." Immediately, whispers filled the room. Some students leaned forward with curiosity, others glanced at each other with a hint of skepticism. Humans were rare in this galaxy. Only a few had ever arrived at Zelaris Academy, and most were considered fragile. They were not thought to survive the harshest worlds, not without protection. A door at the far side of the classroom opened. All eyes turned as a young human stepped in. His hair was dark, slightly messy, and his eyes were sharp, scanning the room with quiet confidence. He wore simple clothes, nothing like the high-tech uniforms the other students wore. A small backpack hung over his shoulder, and on his belt were a few tools that looked ordinary at first glance. He walked slowly, but every step seemed purposeful. The room fell silent as his gaze met theirs. He was not the tallest student, nor the biggest, but there was something about him that made everyone stop talking, something that drew attention without him trying. The instructor gestured toward the empty seat near the front. "This is Aaron," he said. "He is a transfer student from Earth. Treat him as you would any other classmate." Murmurs spread again. "Earth?" one student whispered. "I heard humans are weak." "Ha! They don't last a day on a desert planet," said another, shaking his head. Aaron paused near the front of the room and smiled faintly. "I hope I can change that idea," he said in a calm voice, his tone carrying a quiet strength that made several students look at each other uneasily. The instructor raised an eyebrow. "Good. Sit down, Aaron. Today's lesson is about survival strategies on extreme worlds. You will all need to demonstrate what you know." Aaron slid into his seat, his movements smooth and controlled. He did not fumble with his belongings, did not hesitate, and he looked entirely comfortable in this alien environment. The class stared at him, some openly, some more cautiously. After introducing him, the instructor began the lesson. "In our galaxy, survival is not guaranteed. You will face worlds with storms that can tear buildings apart, forests that can swallow cities, and creatures that can hunt anything that moves. You must think, adapt, and act. Survival is not only strength, it is intelligence, observation, and patience." The aliens listened intently. Some of them nodded confidently, proud of their species' abilities. A few glanced at Aaron, waiting to see if he would struggle with the lessons. "First," the instructor continued, "we will test your reflexes. Everyone stand up. There will be small traps and obstacles on the floor. Move through them carefully." Aliens moved quickly, some leaping over the traps, some carefully using their long limbs to avoid contact. Then came Aaron's turn. He paused for a moment, his eyes scanning the obstacles with precision. Without hesitation, he stepped forward, moving through the traps with fluid grace. He jumped, ducked, and sidestepped, all in a smooth sequence that seemed almost natural. The class watched in disbelief. Several students whispered loudly. "Did you see that?" "I think he is faster than me," said a tall, blue-skinned alien. Aaron completed the obstacle course without a single mistake. His face showed calm focus, almost as if the challenge was simple. The instructor nodded approvingly. "Well done, Aaron. Excellent observation and execution." After the exercise, the aliens were eager to talk about him. Some were skeptical, some curious, but everyone had noticed that the human was different. Even in a simple obstacle challenge, he had moved with skill that many of the seasoned alien students lacked. During the break, a group of students approached Aaron. One of them, a young alien with green scales and sharp teeth, spoke first. "How did you move like that? That was incredible. I've never seen a human before, and I thought you were weak." Aaron smiled gently. "It's not about being big or strong," he said. "It's about paying attention, understanding the environment, and reacting quickly. You can learn it too." The green-scaled alien blinked. "So humans are smart too?" Aaron laughed softly. "I wouldn't say smarter, just different. We survive differently. On my world, humans have to adapt to many dangers every day. That helps us think fast and move fast." Word of Aaron's skills spread quickly through the class. By the time the next session started, almost every student had heard about the human Deathworlder, though none of them understood why he carried that title yet. The next part of the day involved studying alien flora and fauna. The instructor brought out a series of holographic creatures, some with venomous bites, others with camouflage that made them nearly invisible. Students had to identify the creature's strengths and weaknesses and propose strategies for dealing with them. Aaron listened quietly as other students debated strategies. Some suggested overwhelming force. Others preferred technology and shields. When it was Aaron's turn, he spoke calmly. "Sometimes," he said, "you don't need to fight at all. You observe, you wait, you use the creature's environment against it. Sometimes the best way to survive is to move smartly, not just act aggressively." The room went silent. Many students had not considered that approach. They were trained to rely on strength, speed, or tools. Aaron's words carried the quiet authority of someone who had seen danger and survived. The instructor nodded slowly. "Aaron, your perspective is valuable. Adaptability is key. Remember that." By the end of the day, whispers had turned into conversations of admiration. Aaron was not just another student. He was something extraordinary. The other humans they had heard about were rare, but none had the calm confidence and skill he displayed. That evening, after classes ended, Aaron walked through the academy gardens. The sun was setting, painting the sky with shades of purple and gold. Students passed by, some stopping to stare, some whispering among themselves. He didn't seem to notice the attention. One of the green-scaled students caught up with him. "Aaron, wait. Can I ask you something?" "Of course," Aaron said, turning to face him. "How did you survive on a human world? I've heard stories, but they sound impossible." Aaron smiled, a mixture of pride and humility in his expression. "Earth has many challenges. Storms, deserts, forests full of predators. But humans have learned to adapt. We pay attention, we prepare, and we never give up. Survival is not about being the strongest. It's about understanding the world and using what you have." The green-scaled student nodded slowly, clearly impressed. "I never thought humans could be this strong." Aaron laughed softly. "Strength comes in many forms. You'll see more of it soon." That night, in the dormitory, Aaron lay on his simple bed, reviewing notes for the next day. He was aware of the attention he had drawn, but he did not let it distract him. The academy was full of challenges, and he was ready. He had survived harsh worlds before, and he would survive here too. In the classrooms of Zelaris Academy, a quiet revolution was beginning. The alien students, proud of their own abilities, were starting to see something new in humans, something different, something remarkable. Aaron, the human Deathworlder, had arrived, and he had already left a mark on everyone he met. Little did anyone know, the challenges ahead would test every student in ways they could not imagine. And when those challenges came, Aaron would show the true power of a human who had survived death worlds. The next morning, the sun rose over Xylaris Academy once more, casting a golden glow over the sprawling grounds. The alien students filed into the training arena, an enormous dome filled with artificial landscapes designed to simulate extreme planets. Some sections were icy, others fiery, some thick with dense forests, and others barren deserts with fierce winds. It was here that students learned to adapt to harsh conditions and unpredictable dangers. The instructor, his crest glinting in the light, stood at the center. His voice boomed across the arena. Today, you will face your first real survival challenge. Each of you must navigate the simulation and complete the objectives. Some of the worlds you will face mimic environments that would be deadly to ordinary humans. Only adaptability and intelligence will keep you safe. The students looked around nervously. Even the toughest aliens shifted uneasily, knowing the training arena could be more dangerous than it appeared. Holographic creatures lurked in the shadows, some ready to ambush the unwary. Toxic plants hissed when disturbed. High winds threatened to knock over even the strongest students. Aaron stood at the edge of the arena, taking a deep breath. He had faced far harsher conditions on Earth: volcanoes, dense jungles, storms that could tear a man apart. But here, among aliens who were faster, stronger, or smarter in technology, he would have to rely on his instincts and wits. The horn sounded. The challenge began. Aliens rushed forward immediately, relying on speed and strength. Some leaped over obstacles with powerful strides, while others used shields or energy tools to clear the path. Many of them stumbled quickly in the treacherous terrain. The icy patches were slick, the forests full of hidden traps, and the deserts whipped by sudden gusts of wind. Aaron moved carefully, observing each environment. He adjusted his pace, sensing the dangers ahead. A frozen patch of ground shimmered ahead, unstable and slick. Instead of jumping recklessly, he tested each step, sliding smoothly and keeping balance. The other students watching began to realize he moved differently, calculated yet fluid, graceful yet fast. A holographic predator lunged from the underbrush at one of the alien students. The student screamed and barely dodged in time, stumbling backward. Aaron, noticing the predator, acted instinctively. He picked up a nearby branch and used it to deflect the creature's strike, then guided the student out of danger. "Thank you," the alien exclaimed, stunned. Aaron nodded calmly. "Always watch the environment. It tells you what will happen." Word of his quick thinking spread rapidly. Other students began to pay attention, some reluctantly, others with curiosity. Humans were supposed to be weak, but here was one moving through death world-like conditions without fear, analyzing everything, reacting before danger could strike. Hours passed, and the arena grew more challenging. A desert zone stretched across half the floor, scorching heat radiating from the holographic sun. Sandstorms whipped through the air, blinding and disorienting those unprepared. Many students struggled, some collapsing to the ground in exhaustion. Aaron, however, adapted. He remembered techniques from Earth, moving against the wind when possible, finding natural shelter behind rocks, conserving energy and drinking only when necessary. He guided another struggling student to safety, offering quiet words of encouragement. "You can do it," he said. "Keep your head. Keep moving." By the time the class reached the forest section, creatures with camouflage lurked everywhere. Students were startled by sudden movements, holographic snakes coiling on branches, glowing insects buzzing near their faces. Many froze, panicked by the sudden attacks. Aaron crouched low, scanning carefully. He noticed patterns in the movements, predicting where the creatures would strike next. Using branches and stones, he created diversions, leading a group of students safely past the creatures. His calm approach, his focus, and his ability to adapt impressed everyone around him. One alien student, a tall, muscular being with stone-like skin, approached him. How do you do this so easily?" he asked, panting. Aaron smiled slightly. "I don't see it as difficult. You watch, you think, and you move. You never assume the environment is predictable. That is how humans survive." By midday, the students had completed most of the challenges, but the instructor had one more test. He raised a hand, and a new section of the arena opened, a swampy marsh with fog so thick that visibility was almost zero. Hidden in the fog were holographic predators that reacted to sound. Students were instructed to cross the marsh without being detected, testing their stealth, observation, and patience. Most aliens rushed forward recklessly, stumbling and triggering alarms. The fog echoed with warning sounds as predators attacked repeatedly. Panic spread quickly, and even the strongest students began to falter. Aaron paused at the edge of the swamp. He inhaled slowly, listening to the sounds. He could hear the faint ripple of water, the subtle movement of creatures in the fog. He stepped carefully, 1 foot at a time, keeping his movements quiet. When he heard a predator approaching, he adjusted his pace, paused, and waited until the creature passed. Slowly but steadily, he moved through the marsh, using the terrain and natural sounds to mask his presence. Other students, seeing him move effortlessly, began to follow, trying to mimic his movements. Some succeeded, others failed. By the time Aaron reached the far edge, most students had either been caught or were struggling to keep pace. The instructor watched, nodding with approval. When Aaron stepped out, he helped several students climb out of the swamp. His actions were deliberate, thoughtful, and without arrogance. Yet the effect on the class was immediate. Humans were no longer just weak creatures. They were capable, resourceful, and perhaps even exceptional. The instructor clapped his hands. "Impressive, Aaron. You have demonstrated more than just survival skills. You have shown leadership, observation, and adaptability. These qualities will serve you well in this academy." Several students approached him after the exercise. Some were curious, some were skeptical, and some were outright amazed. "I didn't know humans could move like that," one said, his wings twitching nervously. "You make it look easy," another added, looking genuinely impressed. Aaron shrugged lightly. "It's not easy. It's practice and experience. I've faced dangerous worlds before. You learn to survive, or you don't last." That evening, the students gathered around the Academy's common area, discussing the day's events. Many still whispered about Aaron, but the tone had changed. No longer was it mockery or disbelief. Now it was admiration, curiosity, and, in some cases, a touch of awe. One of the alien students, a small insect-like being, approached Aaron cautiously. "Do you ever get scared?" it asked. Aaron smiled softly. "Of course, fear is natural, but it doesn't control me. I use it to pay attention, to move carefully, to survive. Fear is useful if you understand it." The insect-like student nodded, clearly impressed. I hope I can learn from you." Aaron placed a hand on its shoulder gently. "You can. Everyone can. You just need to practice, observe, and never give up." By nightfall, the academy was quiet. Aaron returned to his dormitory, tired but satisfied. He had survived his first real challenge in the academy, but more importantly, he had started to change the way the aliens saw humans. They were no longer just fragile creatures from a distant world. Aaron was proof that humans could endure, adapt, and even lead when others faltered. As he lay on his bed, reviewing the day's events in his mind, Aaron knew the challenges would only grow harder. The academy had many secrets, many dangers waiting to test him. But he was ready. He had faced harsher worlds on Earth, survived death-defying conditions, and learned from every experience. Here, in this alien academy, he would continue to prove what a human Deathworlder could do. And somewhere in the stars above, the reputation of humans was quietly beginning to grow. A single human had entered Xylaris Academy, and he had already left a mark that no alien could ignore. The first challenge was complete, but for Aaron, it was only the beginning. The day began like any other at Xylaris Academy. Alien students walked briskly between the towering classrooms and training arenas, their voices echoing with excitement and curiosity. After the first challenge, whispers of Aaron's abilities had spread far and wide. Everywhere he went, students paused to watch him, some with awe, some with cautious respect, and a few with jealousy. The instructor, however, seemed unusually tense. His crest twitched as he gathered the students in the main hall. "Today," he began, "you will face a scenario unlike any before. This is a simulated emergency, but treat it as real. A dangerous creature has breached the outer perimeter. You must respond, adapt, and protect yourselves. Remember your training." Students murmured nervously. Even the most confident ones were unsettled. They had dealt with simulated dangers, yes, but nothing like this. Some of the species in the academy were naturally strong or equipped with advanced defense tools, yet fear flickered across their eyes. Aaron felt a familiar tension rise in his chest. It was a feeling he knew well, the rush of a world gone wrong, the unpredictability of a threat that could strike at any moment. Unlike most students, he did not panic. Instead, he scanned the room, observing the behavior of those around him. The alarm sounded suddenly, a deep, echoing tone that shook the walls. The holographic barrier at the edge of the hall flickered, and then shattered. Through the opening, a creature unlike anything they had seen emerged. It was massive, with dark, chitin-like armor covering its body and multiple eyes that glowed faintly red. Its limbs were long and powerful, tipped with sharp, curved claws. Its movements were precise, almost calculating. The alien students froze, some raised shields, others tried to call for help. But the creature moved faster than anyone expected. Aaron took a deep breath and assessed the situation. The creature was not mindless. It reacted to sound, light, and movement. It would strike where it detected the most activity. Most of the students panicked, but Aaron's mind worked clearly. He looked for patterns, weak points, and potential escape routes. "Follow me!" he shouted, moving toward a row of pillars along the side of the hall. Some of the students hesitated, unsure if following a human was wise, but instinct and trust in his calm presence drove them to move. Aaron used the pillars as cover, leading the students in careful, calculated movements. The creature lunged at one of the taller students, but Aaron threw a small rock at it, distracting its vision just long enough to allow the student to dodge. The others watched in astonishment. Humans were not supposed to react this quickly under pressure. "Stay low," Aaron instructed, crouching behind a pillar. "Don't make sudden noises. Watch its movements. It reacts to fear and chaos. Calmness is our advantage." Several students began to mirror his movements. Slowly, deliberately, they advanced, using the environment to shield themselves from the creature's attacks. The creature struck again, claws slashing through the air. Aaron anticipated the strike and used a nearby console to trigger a small, harmless distraction. Lights flashed, and a loud noise echoed to the far side. The creature pivoted, giving the students a few precious seconds to advance. One of the younger students, a small, insect-like alien, struggled to keep pace. Aaron noticed immediately. Without hesitation, he crouched and extended a hand. "Here," he said, "take my arm. Move with me." Together they navigated the hall, stepping carefully around hazards and avoiding detection. Aaron's calm voice guided the others, instructing them when to pause, when to move, and when to distract the creature. The instructor observed from a safe distance. He had seen many students face simulated dangers, but none had coordinated so quickly, so calmly, under pressure. Humans were rare, yes, but this human, he realized, was extraordinary. After several tense minutes, the students reached a secure area. Aaron quickly assessed the creature's behavior. It had a pattern, moving toward the loudest, most obvious threats. He formulated a plan, simple yet brilliant. Using objects from the environment, he set up a series of controlled distractions, luring the creature toward the arena's far exit. Then, with precise timing, he guided the students past the creature, using pillars, low walls, and even holographic projections as cover. The plan worked. One by one, the students moved safely to the secure zone. The creature followed the distractions, unaware of the humans moving around it. Aaron kept the group together, moving calmly and efficiently, until finally the creature reached the exit of the arena and was safely contained by the security system. When the alarms stopped, the hall was silent for a moment. Then, one by one, the students began to clap, not just for the successful escape, but for Aaron himself. He had saved them, guided them, and shown them how humans could survive where others might fail. The instructor stepped forward, his crest high. "Remarkable," he said. "Aaron has demonstrated what few of you could: leadership, observation, and adaptability. A true human Deathworlder." Some students still looked skeptical, unable to fully understand how a human could do what Aaron had done. But the others were awed. His calm, collected approach had saved them all. Later, in the common area, students surrounded him. Questions came quickly. How did you know what to do? How do humans survive situations like that? Are all humans this capable? Aaron smiled, shaking his head slightly. Not all humans know. But we learn from the environment. On Earth, survival is never guaranteed. You adapt, you observe, and you act. Fear does not control us, it teaches us. A tall, rock-like alien nodded slowly. I've trained my whole life for challenges. Yet today, I learned more from watching you than I ever learned in years of training. Aaron chuckled softly. Sometimes, survival is not about training. It's about understanding, patience, and timing. By evening, the academy buzzed with excitement and discussion. Aaron's classmates no longer doubted humans. They were fascinated. They wanted to know more, to learn more, to see what this human Deathworlder could do next. In his dormitory that night, Aaron reflected on the day. He knew challenges would only grow more difficult. The academy had tested him, but now he had also begun to inspire others. Humans were rare in the galaxy, often underestimated. But here, in this alien environment, he was showing what humans were truly capable of. The stars outside the dorm window seemed to shine a little brighter that night. Aaron knew that the journey was far from over. The academy, the galaxy, and the worlds beyond would continue to challenge him. But one thing was certain. The reputation of the human Deathworlder was beginning to spread. And soon, every student would understand just how extraordinary a human could be. And somewhere deep in the galaxy, Aaron's actions that day would be remembered as the moment when humans stopped being seen as fragile and started being recognized as survivors, thinkers, and heroes. The morning sun rose over Zelaris Academy once more, painting the towers and training grounds in gold. Word of Aaron's actions during the emergency had spread like wildfire. Everywhere he went, students whispered his name, the human Deathworlder. Some looked at him with awe, some with curiosity, and others with a spark of determination. The instructor called the class together in the main hall. His expression was serious but proud. "Yesterday," he began, "Aaron showed what humans are capable of. He demonstrated intelligence, calm under pressure, and leadership that saved his classmates. Today we recognize his achievement." The hall fell silent. Many students were eager to hear what would happen next. Some felt proud of Aaron, others felt challenged, realizing that the human in their midst had skills few could match. The instructor continued, "Adaptability, observation, and courage are what we value most at Zelaris Academy. Aaron has displayed all three. By our standards, he is a human Deathworlder, a title given to those who survive the most extreme worlds and challenges. Let this be a lesson to everyone here. Never underestimate the value of intelligence, patience, and resilience, no matter the species." The hall erupted in applause. Aaron, calm as ever, nodded his head politely. He didn't seek praise, but he accepted it with humility. Around him, alien students were watching with new understanding. The human they had doubted had proven that strength and skill were not always about size, weapons, or technology. They could also come from experience, observation, and quick thinking. After the ceremony, many students approached Aaron. Some were shy, others curious, and a few who had previously mocked him now looked at him with respect. A green-scaled alien who had challenged him in the first obstacle course stepped forward. "Aaron, I misjudged humans. You are extraordinary. Can you teach me how to think like that? How to survive like you do?" Aaron smiled gently. "You already have the skills inside you. You just need practice and focus. Observation and patience can make a difference. Strength is not always the answer." A small, insect-like student added, "I want to learn too. I want to be able to move and act like you during danger." Aaron nodded. "Everyone can learn. Watch the world, pay attention, and trust your instincts. You don't have to be the biggest or the fastest to survive. You just need to be smart and ready." Even the students who had been skeptical seemed thoughtful. They realized that humans, though physically smaller and seemingly fragile, had qualities that could rival even the most formidable alien species. Aaron had shown them that courage, intelligence, and adaptability could turn a perceived weakness into a unique strength. Later that day, the instructor organized a group exercise. The students were divided into teams and given a challenge: navigate a simulated hazardous world while completing a series of tasks. This exercise would test teamwork, strategy, and survival instincts. Aaron's team included students from several different species. Some were fast and strong, others had advanced technology. But Aaron was the one who guided them, combining their unique skills into a coordinated effort. As the team entered the simulation, chaos seemed to rule. Holographic storms swirled, strange creatures lurked behind every corner, and the terrain shifted unexpectedly. Many teams struggled immediately, panicking or arguing about the best approach. Aaron, however, moved calmly. He assigned tasks to his teammates according to their strengths. One fast-winged alien scouted ahead. A large, rock-like alien carried heavy supplies. A small, agile, insect-like student handled delicate tools. Aaron directed everyone, combining their abilities with careful observation of the environment. When a massive holographic predator attacked, Aaron quickly devised a plan. He instructed the team to use the terrain to their advantage, setting up diversions and traps. The creature moved exactly as he predicted, allowing his team to pass safely. The exercise took hours, but Aaron's team completed every objective without losing anyone. The instructor nodded with approval. "Impressive teamwork. Aaron, you have shown leadership that is rare in any species. You have not only survived, you have taught others to survive alongside you." The alien students around him were amazed. Many admitted quietly at first that they had underestimated humans. Aaron's calm confidence, his ability to think quickly, and his skill in using the environment as a tool had changed their perspective entirely. That evening, Aaron returned to the Academy Gardens. The sunset painted the sky in shades of pink and purple. Students passed by, some bowing respectfully, others simply watching. He sat on a bench and reflected on the events of the past few days. He thought about Earth, about the countless challenges humans had faced over millennia: storms, predators, deserts, oceans, mountains. Humans had survived not because they were the strongest or fastest, but because they adapted, learned, and worked together. Those same qualities had allowed him to succeed in the academy. As he watched the stars emerge, one of his teammates approached, a young, green-scaled alien who had struggled in the first obstacle course. "Aaron," the alien said softly, "thank you. You didn't just save us. You taught us something important. You showed us what humans can do." Aaron smiled. "Remember this. Every species has strengths, but even the smallest, seemingly weakest being can survive if they understand the world and themselves. Humans are not the strongest, but we are survivors. You can be too, if you learn and pay attention." The alien nodded, clearly inspired. "I will remember that. I want to become like you, calm and clever, able to survive anything." Aaron chuckled softly. "It's not impossible. It just takes time and practice, and never giving up." The next day, the academy held a special assembly. The head of the school addressed all students. "Recently, a human student has demonstrated qualities that are rare in any species: intelligence, calmness under pressure, leadership, and adaptability. We recognize Aaron of Earth as a human Deathworlder. Let his actions be an example to everyone. Humans may be rare, but they are capable of extraordinary feats." The entire assembly erupted in applause. Students from all corners of the academy looked at Aaron with new respect. Some even approached him, asking to learn from him, to train with him, or to understand his methods. Aaron felt a quiet satisfaction. He did not seek fame, but he understood the importance of this recognition. It was not just about him. It was about changing perceptions. Humans, often underestimated, were now being seen in a new light. The galaxy would remember that humans were not fragile. They were survivors, thinkers, and innovators. Over the following weeks, Aaron continued to train, teach, and guide his peers. Alien students who once mocked him now looked to him for advice, learning to observe, adapt, and act calmly under pressure. Slowly, the academy itself began to change. Students of all species became more mindful, more strategic, and more patient. One day, after a particularly challenging training session, a young student approached Aaron. "Do you ever get tired?" the student asked. Aaron smiled. "Of course I get tired, but being tired doesn't mean giving up. Every day is a chance to learn, to grow, and to survive. That is what humans do. We keep moving forward." The student nodded thoughtfully. "I think I understand now. Humans are more than I imagined." Aaron's smile widened. "You understand. And now, maybe you can teach someone else what you've learned." That is how knowledge and strength spread. Months passed, and Aaron became a legend in the academy. He was no longer just a student. He was a symbol of what humans could accomplish. The title of Human Deathworlder was more than recognition of his skill. It was a testament to human resilience, intelligence, and courage. As Aaron looked out over the training grounds, he knew this was only the beginning. Many worlds awaited, full of challenges that would test humans and aliens alike. But he was ready. He had faced death worlds before, adapted, survived, and taught others to do the same. He would continue to inspire, to lead, and to show the galaxy what humans were truly capable of. The academy had changed because of him. And somewhere deep in the stars, the reputation of humans began to grow, not as fragile creatures, but as survivors, thinkers, and heroes. And so, Aaron the Human Deathworlder became more than a student. He became a symbol, a reminder that courage, intelligence, and adaptability could overcome even the most extreme challenges. The alien students would remember his lessons for the rest of their lives, and humans across the galaxy would never be underestimated again. The sun set over Xylaris Academy, and the stars shone brightly in the sky. A human had arrived, faced impossible challenges, and left a mark that would last forever.